Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 146 of Two Amazon Sellers and a Microphone, brought to you by Celozo. And today, Chris and I are excited. We've got a great guest on with us, Leslie Hensel from Riverbend Consulting. How are you doing, Leslie?
Doing great, thank you. And I am so happy to be here.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Us too. It's always fun having these conversations with experts in the space, and you're clearly one of them. So we'd love to hear all about your background, your story. For anybody who's listening who doesn't know you, we'd love to hear your background, and then we're going to dive into a really cool topic, the no fear zone. And I got to read this because I wrote this down. Abolish the dread from your Amazon account by thinking like seller performance. Very excited to get into this because there is a lot of fear and dread. Nobody wants to wake up to that email from Amazon that you've been shut down. That's the worst.
And it usually comes when you're on vacation or just
Always.
about to leave.
It's always on vacation.
It's true.
I swear. I tell my wife this all the time. I'm like, we go on vacation. I swear I get an email at the airport. I swear I get an email in the hotel. It feels like it's always on vacation.
That is such a good point.
I'm glad somebody else thinks
they
that
know. They know. No, I've had clients who've canceled vacation. I always try and convince them just go anyway, but they can't do it. They won't go. Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm glad somebody else feels the same.
Yeah. So Dustin, I gotta say, it's really nice for someone to be excited to talk to me because a lot of times people are not excited to talk to me because they're talking to me because something bad is happening in their Amazon account.
Well, the word seller performance just gives me the chills anyway. Like I don't even want to.
I know. Yeah.
It does. It does. Yeah. Yeah. So you asked about background. I've actually sold on Amazon for 11 years. I'm still an active seller.
Nice.
Even though my real day job now is that I'm co-owner, co-founder of Riverbend Consulting. We started just about 4 years ago, and now we have more than 60 employees, 16 of whom are ex-Amazon people. Wow. So our ex-Amazonians are from seller performance, they're from account health, they're from seller support, catalog team, brand registry, you name it. We've even got someone from AWS. So we try and bring in that broad range of experience because, as y'all know, Amazonian is its very own language. My background prior to selling on Amazon, I was a management and marketing consultant. I spent a lot of time helping people improve their operational performance, even down to things like working on lines where they're producing goods or streamlining processes in the warehouse. So then selling on Amazon when people are getting suspended, I can apply some of that same management consulting expertise, but to the Amazon world, because a lot of times people don't want to believe there's anything wrong in their account, but there's always an operational improvement or something you can do so that Amazon won't be coming after you, or if you are suspended, so you can fix that moving forward. You know, so many people on Amazon, they're hustlers, right? Like they know how to make a deal. They're really smart at buying inventory. You make the money at the buy, not when you sell it. You know, they know all these things, but operations are not their deal. And so operations really, when it comes down to it, that's what a lot of enforcement at Amazon is all about. And that brings us to the no fear zone.
Ooh, you're talking to two people that you just described.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love the hustle about finding products, finding cool products to sell, sourcing them, negotiating, getting them on there. But yeah, when it gets down to the dreaded, making sure that you're following all the terms and all that stuff. And then of course, if anything happens, that's so outside of our wheelhouse. We talk about this quite a bit. It's like, what do we do if the account gets suspended? It's like, well, we call you. we get help. But I want to talk. Let's dive into a little bit more of your story. So, what made you want to sell on Amazon in the first place? So you sound like you had a great gig going, a good job, and then was this a side hustle that you started and just for fun, or what was the impetus for you getting involved in that?
It started as a side hustle and then became really important.
Mm.
So side hustle, it's fun. That was back in the Wild West days when you could go to any place and buy stuff if you had any quality of receipt. No one ever asked you for it. You know,
Yep.
I'm buying stuff at Tuesday morning and flipping it for Christmas, and it was amazing. It was so much fun. We've got like 25 Tuesday mornings where I live, so we'd make a list and just go to every single one and buy them out of the best stuff. I mean, y'all have been there. Can't do
That was my favorite spot for retail arbitrage,
That's me too. That's so funny. I haven't heard that name in a while.
but it's the best. I mean, you could go clear their shelves out, and almost all of it would work. It was
Oh
awesome.
yeah, and at Christmas we'd find like 6 or 7 ASINs and then just go buy them at every store. We had a map. We'd go store to store to store because where I live, it's the headquarters, so there were tons of them. Yeah, so
Ah,
back in the good old days. But then my older son Austin, we decided we needed to homeschool him for a few years. He's got some learning disabilities and is on the autism spectrum and was really struggling. And we decided we wanted to homeschool him and just do tons of therapy. And so it turned into a necessity because I couldn't do client work during that time. It just got too difficult because
mm,
my husband was still out there working, doing the thing, getting the health insurance to cover all of that therapy. And then I
mhm,
was the homeschool mom, but we still needed money because all of that was very expensive, right?
mm.
It was awesome. He learned how to work. He learned how to help me in the business. My other kiddo, Jackson, he was stickering inventory, not kidding, when he was 3 years old. So
I did the same thing with my kids. It's super fun.
yeah, and so I still Amazon's very much a side business for me now, but they still work on it, and it's their way to have extra spending money. They pay for their tuition. I always tell them this is partly your job, right, to pay for your tuition, and then when we get past that, you have extra spending money. So it's been really great for our family. But that was, Amazon went from a side hustle to being like the way we took care of all of these bills for this special
Mm,
needs kiddo. And then he went to special needs school, and I really needed it. So I
mm.
am so grateful for the opportunity Amazon gave me all those years ago.
Now,
Was that all? Yeah.
do you still do the side hustle like retail arbitrage, or did you transition to private label? Where'd you go from there?
So I have some really great relationships with manufacturers that I'm an approved seller, if you will, on Amazon for several brands, which is awesome because they ship it direct to the warehouse for me. So it
Mm,
ends up being really easy for me. They love that I have an old account that I'm ungated in absolutely everything. But then we still have a couple of little places that we like to go that are safer outlets for retail arbitrage. And now my husband, my kids, they do almost all the work.
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, retail arbitrage is still a very viable business
It's
right
like
now.
a drug too. It's a
Mm,
drug.
yeah,
Oh,
it is. It is fun. I do that every once in a while. Because I'm in the private label model, but
Hmm.
I'll just if we're going to like Walmart or something with my wife, I'll just kind of mosey on over to the clearance section and just start scanning stuff just to see because it is fun. You're like, oh my gosh, I could make $10 on this right now if I sold this on Amazon.
And
It is
we
cool.
mostly focus on it for Christmas, really,
Mhm.
for peak. And there are certain brands and stores that I've had to submit receipts several times and they've been approved. So I know that Amazon's good with these particular ones, right? And not long ago, so my husband, my younger son, they went and they're sending me pictures of stuff and I'm on the PC like looking up ranks and things because it's just easier than doing it from the phone in the store, right? And they
Mhm.
found this stuff. I was so excited. I called them. I'm like, buy all of it, buy all of it. It's still like a drug. It really is. The thrill
it's
of the
hard.
hunt.
It's hard to get away from it. I'm with Dustin here. You guys as well. Like I'll walk into a Target or it's just like a Tuesday morning and walk in and just like the instincts, like, okay, where's my phone? Let's start scanning stuff. And my
Yes.
Mhm.
wife would be like, "Why are you scanning things? You don't need to be doing that anymore. We got private label going." I'm like, "I know, but it's like
Yeah,
addicting."
but we're already here, so
Yeah.
why
Yeah,
not
we're here. We might as well make this fun.
let's make this a
Exactly.
profitable trip.
Yes, and that's what I tell my husband and kids too about just being at home, and they believe it too because we'll use the money for like a vacation or something. We don't need it to live on anymore, but
Mhm.
we'll use it for vacation or for school expenses. Because we have a mother-in-law room that is all set up, with our inventory shelves. We've got
Nice.
everything we need to do seller fulfilled. It's all ready to go, and the kids love it at Christmas because we'll turn on merchant fulfilled and everything they ship, they get the money for, right? So
Oh,
they can
nice.
make $1,000 each at Christmas because
That's
the
awesome.
inventory, we only buy what's, marked way down.
Sure.
So if my inventory cost is $2.67 is my average on my stuff that's RA,
Wow.
and we're selling it for 14 to 25, they can just have the rest, and they love it.
That's awesome.
There's a teaching aspect to that too. It's
They have
one of
learned
those,
to work.
yeah.
Yeah. When you're packing up boxes for FBA when you're a kid and you're having to move these 48.5 pound boxes.
You get to the max
because you pack it to the edge, and when you're having to move those boxes and take them to UPS and unload them all and do all that work and sticker everything, it really does teach you how to work. They have a very high tolerance for work and tedium that I don't think they would have had if I hadn't gotten them to do this. I
totally agree.
Yeah, I love it when kids like, you have to learn how to work. You're not born knowing how to do the drudgery.
That's awesome.
I'm such a nerd, y'all.
I know. I love it. I mean, I do the same thing with my kids. They've been a part of my business. Since, I named my business after me and my kids. I mean, it was designed to be that way. So let's transition now. So you were doing this, and then what made you want to start Riverbend Consulting? I mean, that's a big transition now to go into consulting, and then especially to specialize in these types of areas like the appeals. And you can tell us all the different services that you guys offer, but appeals and stuff, that's a real specific niche inside the Amazon world. What drew you to that and to start this?
So before Riverbend, there were people out there getting suspended. I went to a lot of seller groups. I went to some of the early shows, conventions, whatever you want to call them, meetups. You meet people, they're suspended. You have this ability and skill from the past, right? It's like writing, consulting, knowing how to break down a problem. So it was easy to pick up clients who needed help. And one of the clients that I picked up back in the day was named Joe Zalta. And Joe had been suspended, was very upset. And man, he was a high maintenance client. He called me every day. He was just a pain in the behind. I couldn't make him go away. We got him reinstated. It took like a week and a half because he'd written some really terrible appeals that he'd submitted himself. And so later on, I was looking for a new opportunity, wanted to do something cool. And he heard I was on the market, and he called me up and said, we need to do this together. So now Joe is my business partner of 4 years.
That's awesome.
He's great. It's like a business love story. I helped him get his account back, and we're like bonded forever. And, and so he's like the sales guy. We have an office up in Jersey, and he manages the sales team and marketing and all that good stuff. And then I'm over the service team. So I oversee all of the consultants we have writing appeals, the analysts who look at accounts, the admins. We have a Filipino team. So I do all the operational stuff as fits my background.
It's really taken off.
Yeah.
It has. Y'all, it's just crazy. Part of it, so just to be transparent, and I think everyone can tell this when they look at our company, we get people in the door because they're afraid. They've lost their business, their ability to sell. They've lost an important ace and they're panicking. We have a lot of great expertise. We fix that problem and we establish a trust level like most service providers cannot establish. People really trust us because we've solved their biggest problem. We've given them great advice to keep them out of trouble in the future. And so then they stick with us and we sell them other add-on services. It's a great business model, but they also know that even if they're buying another service totally unrelated to account health, that if they have a problem, we've already got their account login. We're in there all the time. We can take care of it quickly.
That's really cool. Yeah, that is a nice intro. I mean, if you can solve that that humongous problem, which anytime your account shut down, that is an enormous problem. That does establish that trust level. So then you offer all like full account management type services on top of that as well, right?
So we don't do full account management. We do, I thought I put my phone on airplane mode. What does it do? It pings. Sorry.
I didn't even hear it.
UPS has showed up and I had to mute myself.
Yeah.
Right. But we do have a lot of great stuff. So one thing is seller account protection. That is like outsourcing the scary part of your account. We look in performance notifications, scorecard and cases every single day and look for ASINs that have been taken down. If they've been taken down, we just take care of it. We reach out to the client. We say, hey, you need to appeal this. We write an appeal. They submit it. So it's like keeping those taken care of continually with no gap in response to Amazon. We do some of the boring, we call it task services, the things no one wants to do. Fixing stranded inventory, answering customer service messages, the beatings in your account. We can take care of those beatings that you have every day. And then the fun stuff, we help people get editorial recommendations placed in Amazon search.
Cool.
We this year started doing the best quality, y'all, I'm a terrible salesman, so if I say this, it's really good. The best quality product videos for Amazon that you've ever seen. They look like TV commercials. They're awesome.
Wow.
And then our latest venture is called Project Retail, where we help people with winning ASINs to get them into retail stores. So going backward from what you would think. Everyone's talking about got to get on Amazon. We take people who have proven products on Amazon with all the great data that we have that we can introduce them to buyers. So we get people into Target and Walmart and Nordstrom and all kinds of cool places.
That's a lot to unpack right there. I mean, there's a lot going on. The one I want to get to. So if I heard right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody can come to Riverbend and just kind of have Riverbend in the background watching over their account. And if something comes up like a performance notification, that seller doesn't need to go to Riverbend. Riverbend's already notified because they're already in the account, and they just take care of it on their own. And then you just send the invoice whenever that is done. Is that correct?
So there's one additional step in there. But yeah, we already have the login to the account, and we log into it every day to see if there's anything that's popped up. So the one additional step is that we do send the appeal to the client to review and submit to Amazon, because we don't want to submit anything without the client being good with the appeal. We can do that for clients we know well. If you're a new client that we don't know your business model, don't know how you work, we need to talk to you about that and make sure that we understand your business so we can write viable appeals that really address the problem. And then we let you know, hey, you need to fix this or that. This is a problem with this product, so that you'll fix it, because this is not about form letters. We really want to solve the problem, but we can do 85% of the work. And then the client is just doing the review it, make sure they fix the problem, and submit it to Amazon.
You're almost like, I'm making an analogy. You're like the Getita, which is like the reimbursement service, where they're automatically in your account. They take care of all the reimbursements. You don't even have to worry about it. You're taking care of all the performance notifications, and you're just in the account, and then you just send your appeal or whatever to the client, and then move on from there. It's like a safety valve. Like you're like the backup. Like it's always in there, making sure everything's good.
Exactly. And then if someone has a question about their account, or like if we see repetitive issues for the same cause, we'll set up a call and say, hey, this is a problem. You could get suspended if you keep up with this. We need to talk about why you've had 20 complaints for used sold as new. We're a little bit like your mom. That if you keep doing the same thing, we're going to call you and say, hey, we got to get this fixed, or it's something you're going to have a bad consequence that you just don't want to have. And this can work for really small sellers. It's a really small fee, right? And sometimes it's almost like an insurance feeling that they know that we're there. And then we go all the way up to the biggest sellers on Amazon that we work on their account every day.
Yeah, you say insurance. That the analogy that was coming to my mind was like LifeLock, like for credit, like it's like, hey, my credit card was stolen. I didn't realize. And it's like, oh, I've got a performance notification. I didn't realize. I mean, sometimes you can overlook those things. I mean, you could miss an email or miss the notification, and your ASIN could be suspended for a while. And yeah, it's nice. But there's all kinds of notifications, of whether it's a patent infringement or trademark infringement or what is, I get those, and it's like, is this a joke? Is this a real guy? What is this? So,
and especially since now some things actually come through cases, instead of coming through a performance notification or showing up on the scorecard. And
Yeah.
that's really confusing to people. And if you've got a VA who's essentially running the day-to-day of your account, they may not know what to do with it. They may not inform you. And some of those are scary ones where there's like a safety incident with your product. And if you don't address it, they're going to come after you. So it's got to get taken care of. So we look all of the places to make sure none of those are being missed. And then also, y'all, some of the notifications from Amazon have gotten confusing. So used to a hard warning, you knew it was a hard warning. A soft warning, you knew it was a soft warning. Now they've got all this weird language about you can get it removed from the dashboard and all this other stuff. And so sometimes we're making a recommendation, don't appeal this one, or you don't have to if you don't want to, or yes, you have to. It used to be easier to know. But now we kind of look overall at the account, and there are a few where we're like, don't poke the bear if you don't have more inventory, and others we say, yes, you have to get after it. It's a mess. Amazon's so confusing.
And it's like, this is just my opinion, and you may say, like those little surveys that are in your Seller Central account. I see those things, and it's like a warning, like Amazon has my best interest in my account. I'm like, oh, great. What's coming up? Like, are they getting ready to suspend me here? Like, what's happening? It's like they're giving me like a heads up, like, hey, there's something that's going to happen. So I quit answering those things because I don't even know what's going to happen.
Y'all, we make fun of those every single day. We have a chat on our Slack, and one of our analysts, Alex, he's so great with altering images, and so he will go in and Photoshop them with all these hilarious answers. The one today was super awesome. It was something like, I'm confident I can talk to sellers, or I can reach out to sellers or something. And the answer is, I'm not supposed to talk to customers. I'm not supposed to reach out to customers. I'll get in trouble. What are you talking about? I mean, they're so bad. I'm going to have to send y'all some of our funny Photoshop ones. They're awesome.
Yeah, that is. I've just looked at my account. It's easy for me to communicate with my customers.
Yeah.
Strongly disagree.
Right. And so Alex changed it to, what is your preferred method of off-platform customer communication? And his answers are package inserts, smoke signals, Facebook Messenger, carrier pigeon, and astral projection.
That's so good.
That's hilarious.
He could have like his own Instagram of just like memes of the surveys.
Ours are better than theirs.
That's hilarious. That's almost as absurd as this one they just asked. It's hilarious. I like that.
It is. The one today was awful. It was awful. Is this like a trap? Because I'm not, like you were saying, Chris, is this a trap because I'm not supposed to reach out to customers?
I know. And it feels like if I answer it, like it feels like I'm going to get another warning. So I just quit doing it. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I've thought that too. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything negative about Amazon and their poll right now, or admit to doing something like, oh, I communicate with my customers all the time. Agree.
Right.
It's like, are you going to be, then I got to call, I have to call Leslie the next day because I get suspended. So let's transition. Let's talk about this now. The no fear zone. Okay. Sometimes I'll tell you what, there was a period of my Amazon selling journey where it was like blissful because I didn't even know you could get suspended early on. You know, how nice is that? Now you're like, oh my gosh, am I doing everything right? Is anything going wrong? So let's talk about how you can just abolish that fear and how you guys can help with that.
So let's start out talking about seller performance and how they think about accounts, because there are a lot of conspiracy theories out there, because it's easy to feel targeted. And I'll tell you the funniest thing. Last week, I was talking to a client who is a top 20 seller on Amazon, if you look at seller ratings. And he was telling me it's so tough for him because Amazon is targeting big sellers. And then the same day, I was talking to a small seller who told me it's so hard for her because Amazon is targeting small sellers. And I think that the Amazon selling community is so spread out. A lot of people don't know any other Amazon sellers, right? And if you do, you know the ones who are like you. So there's that confirmation bias, and everyone feels like Amazon is out to get them. And there may be what's that phrase? It's you're not paranoid if they're really out to get you.
Right.
And there are some policies out there with Amazon that I will admit feel very targety. But as far as the people who actually work in seller performance, their goals are not to shut down sellers. That is not what they are here for. Their goal is to protect Amazon and to protect customers on the platform. Amazon's under a lot of outside pressure right now. They have the anti-competitive moves right now in Congress. Also, the FTC has been directed by the president to crack down on them. So that's why you're seeing all of the Chinese sellers finally taken down for review manipulation that were using click farms, right? You see the outside pressure, and then you see the results. A lot of people want to know why they're getting all the EPA and restricted products notifications and all these weird takedowns for keywords that are ludicrous, right? This year it's happened like crazy. Well, when you find out that the EPA had their third consent decree in 18 months with Amazon, instead of their usual one every 2 months, or not, I'm sorry, 2 years that they usually have, that they're really pushing harder and coming down harder on Amazon for allowing products that should not be on the platform to be up, then it all makes sense. You're like, oh, that's why they tightened up the algorithm to the point where it's stupid and we're having to appeal things we shouldn't have to. It's because the EPA is all over Amazon right now. So you change your credit card and you get VCAT, veteran customer account compromised. That means they think someone stole your identity or stole your login and they're trying to steal your money, which I've seen it, y'all. People do get the money stolen out of their accounts and they never get it back. There is no FDIC to help you in that case. You're just screwed. So if Amazon perceives something about you changed your bank information and you changed something else and they were too close to each other and you get VCAC'd, that is because Amazon is under all kinds of pressure from government agencies that regulate financial transactions, and they have to prevent fraud and theft. So when you see Amazon take action, first think, is there something that is an outside pressure on Amazon? There might be. If you know that the EPA is coming after them, you better make sure you've got an EPA number for anything that applies to. So then the flip side, what else Amazon cares about is customers. We all know they care about customer experience. They do not care about seller experience. They say they do. It's a big lie. Let's be honest. It's not true. It's just not true at all. And I mean, I say that as someone who's sold a long time, but also who's more objective looking at my clients' accounts than my clients could ever be. They do care about customer experience all the time. So that means even the fake claims from customers, it's easy to take those personally and then feel like Amazon's targeting you. It is not that. It is Amazon caring about customers and not wanting them out on social media bashing Amazon for their bad customer experience. And yes, that even includes when it was FBA that accepted a return they shouldn't have and resold it, or whatever the case. We've all seen that. That's really fun. So anytime you're thinking about your account and how to suspension proof your account and keep your ASINs from getting taken down, think about it from a customer's viewpoint and Amazon's viewpoint, protecting those customers or protecting itself. And it will help you to be more objective looking at your account and finding the ways to suspension proof it.
That's just a good philosophy right there. It makes sense. And I mean, Chris and I hear this all the time. We talk to sellers every single day. Everyone's always upset at Amazon for something, as a seller. And you're right. A lot of that is, some of it's outside of their control. They're being pressured. I mean, I'm sure, during the pandemic, there had to be all kinds of things that got, I know they were dealing with like price gouging, and they were just like, their algorithms probably changed. It probably all kinds of collateral damage on people that legitimately raised their price or something on something for a certain reason. And then, they're getting either, they're losing the buy box or something for that. But it's a good point of taking it from their perspective, that seller performance perspective.
Right. And then another thing to know, and you made a great example there with the price gouging, because I'll tell you, I had clients who were price gouging and they got suspended for it, and they deserved it. I mean, they really deserved it. It was not even question in my mind. When you're charging $120 for a bottle of Tylenol, that's just not cool.
Mhm.
But then I had other clients who got caught up in it because their inputs were higher. So I had someone who made their own hand sanitizer, and the cost of alcohol was like 5x. And
Right.
so they had to charge more. And then a lot of their people didn't want to come into work. And so they had to pay more to get other people. And so we had to actually show Amazon like a schedule of how their inputs went up to get that price gouging removed from their account so that they could sell again, right? So a lot of times, bad guys, unfortunately, it's kind of like your teacher in kindergarten who one kid acts up and then you all miss recess. It's very much like that in the Amazon world. A lot of that is because of their algorithms, and that's another thing you have to try and understand is that a lot of bad enforcement is based on an algorithm, and the algorithm is not written correctly. But I tell you, the people inside of Amazon have been nothing short of brainwashed into believing that their tech is always right. And so that's why it can get so difficult on some suspensions, especially for things like restricted products, to convince them your tech was incorrect. I'm selling masks that are like beauty masks. I'm not selling
Right.
face masks. And just because it has the word mask, it doesn't make it evil. So some of the frustration there, people think a human isn't looking. Oh, a human's looking, but they believe their own corporate internal line. And when you understand that, it takes a little of the paranoia and fear out of it, because then you have to decide, how do I address this? You have to address it sensibly and with a strategy, not with anger and emotion. And I think when you're afraid, you act out in ways that do not help you to solve the problem. So that's why I want to get rid of the fear with some logic and understanding of the situation instead.
Yeah.
And
Well,
trying to contact seller support on your own, like it used to be a lot easier. You used to be able to hop on the phone, boom, boom, boom. We got my case figured out, reinstate, whatever it was, whatever the issue was. You used to be able to get it figured out. Now it's like impossible almost to get on the phone. And when you do get on that phone, you're right. It's all about emotion. You're like, this product is not a pesticide. Reinstate it. I need to get it. But it's hard to do that. What do you do if somebody tries to get on there, tries to figure out themselves? It's kind of hard to do that now these days.
I agree. And I can't even tell you how many times in my own account I've opened a case and they've totally misread what I told them. And I try and make the language very simple. And then I have to kick it back and say, no, what I said was, and I have already done these things. So one suggestion is to make it as simple as possible and short. A lot of people write their life story in a case, bullet point everything. This is my problem. I've done these things. Boom, boom, boom. Now I need help with this. And you have to tell them exactly what you want help with. So whether that is going to a consultant, going to seller forums, God forbid, going to a mastermind group, going to your buddy who sells on Amazon to get the right words. If you can find out what the words are, that's the problem. You need the right ask. For example, I need you to refresh this listing in my catalog. That is huge, like for stranded inventory, to refresh my listing, refresh the ASIN. I need this to go to engineering, which is kind of like their tech guys, right? It's their tech department. You've got to know what your ask is, because sadly, seller support doesn't know. They don't know what they need to do half the time unless it's very basic. So you have to know what your ask is and put it high up. I need you to refresh this ASIN, please.
So the trick used to be you could call in, and then you would get somebody obviously across seas, and you'd say, I need you to transfer me to the catalog team. I need you to transfer me to the catalog team. And then they'd say, I am the catalog team. And I'd say, no, I need you to transfer me to somebody in Arizona. Like that would be, or like, right. I think it was Arizona or South Dakota. Like there was only two. Yeah. And transfer me to somebody in Arizona, South Dakota. Now I did this once and it worked, and that was way back ago. I don't know if that still works, but like that was the trick is I need somebody, I need you to transfer me to somebody on the catalog team. Does that even still work now?
So catalog periodically takes calls. I believe they are taking calls right now. but then they will shut it down, and then they'll start taking calls again. Captive team.
That's what it was.
Captive team, you can still get through to captive team. They still exist. I've actually had more success on my own account asking for things to be escalated to captive team through written cases than on the phone, believe it or not.
Nice.
And sometimes you have to ask like 5 times. You have to reopen the case and ask again, and reopen and ask again. And that's very frustrating, but eventually you'll get it to someone here in the States.
Yep.
Yeah, so they do, and some of the people don't know them by captive team. They know them by the snowball team.
Snowball team. There's a term.
Because they've had a snowball of contacts. It's usually things with a lot of contacts, so they're the snowball team.
Interesting.
No, is there still I don't know how long ago I heard this through a group or something, but before they suspend you, is there a notice they send you before they make that suspension?
Okay, it depends. There are a lot of different situations. So, for example, there are lots of warnings that go out for review manipulation. And they'll tell you to stop it. And usually that's if it's something minor, like they think that you're upvoting or downvoting, or they think that a friend or family member wrote a review. Small change, right? Sometimes, also for review manipulation, they'll say you have 72 hours to write a plan of action and submit it. And they don't shut down your account. And you submit the POA, and if they accept it, they never shut you down. And then sometimes they just take you out. Now, the 72 hours versus when they take you out, I honestly do not know what the bright line is there that puts you on one side or the other, because I've had people with pretty serious offenses who got the 72-hour, and I've had people that I didn't think what they were doing was all that bad, and they got the immediate suspension. Now, on Inauthentic, you sold us new other product quality issues. Amazon assumes that you should know what's going on because you've gotten ASINs suspended for that typically before they suspend your account. So if you've had repetitive issues in one of those categories, they're not going to have much mercy on your soul and let you do the 72-hour. Things like listing violations, those more policy-oriented things, you're more likely to get a warning on that. And if you're a very high-volume account, you might get 5 warnings or 6 warnings before they shut you down. If you're low volume, it's more like 1 or 2.
This is why I would just hire you to do all this.
There's so much, isn't there? And it changes all the time.
Yeah, and it's just like anything else. I mean, so Chris and I, we talk to sellers all the time about advertising. Advertising inside Amazon, it's like a whole new ball game. Like every couple of months, there's new ad types. You got to stay on top of it. And the same thing goes in this sphere where you're talking about, and like just like you mentioned, knowing just the right verbiage. Like you change one word, and all of a sudden you've told them exactly what to do, and you say it a different way, and it's just like spinning your wheels. I don't know what all the right verbiage is, and that's why I think for anybody who's listening, having you as a part of their team looking into this every day is critical, because literally we hear horror stories all the time. I'm so lucky. I think, Chris, I've never had my account suspended. I try to play by the rules anyway. So fortunately I haven't had it. But I've had ASINs delisted. I've had different things happen where that at times where it's scary. If that's a big seller, you're like, oh no, this is not good. And then you don't know what to do, where to go. Right. So having someone in your corner is helpful. So how can anybody who's listening right now get in touch with you just to talk about or start using your services?
So you can go to riverbendconsulting.com, and there's a handy dandy form you can fill out, or give us a call. We have human beings that answer the phone. Our numbers, it matters. Not everyone does. 877-289-1017. And also I'm on LinkedIn, and I give lots of cool content every single day about Amazon. And before we run away, can I give my very best piece of advice? My no fear advice?
Please.
Okay, so my very best piece of no fear advice, and this is how you don't just save yourself from getting taken down, but you actually make more money and profit in your account, is that every single week you need to be running your returns report, and you need to look at comments on products, so reviews, but also store feedback. And then you also need to look at voice of the customer every single week. And you need to look for your problem ASINs. Everyone has one. Every account has one or two ASINs that aren't performing well in all of those categories. So if you've got an outsized return rate on one product, you need to fix that product. Is it because you're not shipping it in the right kind of envelope? Do you need to open a prep case with Amazon because they're not prepping it right and it's getting broken? Is it like one client had a certain line of Nike products that none of them fit? They were all too small, right? It was just this one product line in Nike and people were mad and returning them. Or do you have a 2-pack of something that you mixed a shampoo and conditioner? It was supposed to be 2 shampoos. You can find these things if you will look in your returns report, voice of the customer, and look in your reviews and look in the comments on your own store, the feedback. And your goal isn't to fix all the things. Just pick one ASIN at a time and fix that ASIN, solve the problem. And then the next week, fix the next one, so that there's always an underperformer that you are working on doing a better job in packaging or whatever it needs to be. Your detail page needs to be better. I don't care what it is. And if you can't figure out what the reason is, ask a friend to look at the detail page, look at the product, mail them one as if, right? And have them unbox it and experience it, figure it out, because it's not just going to save you headaches with Amazon and seller performance. You're going to make a lot more money in the end.
That's huge. A great piece of advice. It's I got to add it to my to-do list.
Yeah, the voice of the customer I like, because you can actually like see what they're really mad about the product. Like, this charger didn't work for this product or whatever. You're going to be able to get that feedback and you can make adjustments as you need.
And so many sellers never really look at that unless Amazon makes them, and they don't run their returns report and sort it by ASIN and then sort by reason.
It's such a great tip. I mean, just it's preemptive. You could prevent problems, and like you said, of course, make more money and have your customers like your products more. That's obviously a win-win. Great piece of advice. Yeah, we should all be doing that. I need to do that more. I don't do it. I'm kind of falling the category of when there's a problem, then I look at it instead of making that a task. I need to make that more.
We all do, but this is literally like 30 minutes once a week. And the huge thing is, y'all, if you get too many returns on a product, you're not just killing your profit on that product, you're losing money on it because of all the fees with FBA. So you can't have, it's better to discontinue selling it than keep selling something that you've got a lot of returns on. Just,
I agree. So interesting. I could talk about this all the time. We'll have to have you back on, Leslie. We'll maybe in a few months, we'll talk about whatever the new thing that Amazon is cracking down on sellers for. There's always on this.
I would love that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get you back on. And everyone who's listening, go to riverbendconsulting.com. Call them. She gave her number, 877-289-1017. Did I do that right?
Yes, you did.
Perfect.
And I promise, if it's business hours, humans answer the phone.
Call her instead of calling seller support on Amazon. You'll get
better answers. Yeah,
you'll talk to someone who knows what they're talking about, which is great. So Leslie, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a blast. This has been valuable for everybody out there for sure. Can't wait to get you back on, talk about what's new down the road. But for everybody listening right now, if you like content like this, make sure that you subscribe to the podcast on whatever platform you're listening to. We're on all of them. So whether it's iTunes or Google or Spotify, whatever, subscribe to it. Leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. We also live stream these. So if you like to watch us, so you can see how much fun we're having talking all day about Amazon. Even if we're talking about suspensions, we still find a way to have fun. You can see that on Solozo's Facebook page, Solozo's LinkedIn page, and Solozo's YouTube channel. We go live every day. You can watch the recordings there as well. And if you're currently selling on Amazon and struggling with your advertising, Solozo's here to help you out. We can automate and optimize your ads for you. Chris and I will talk to you. We'll book a 30-minute time slot. We'll talk to you about anything you want on Amazon. If you've got problems with your account, we'll refer you to Leslie. If you've got problems with ads, we'll help you out. So make sure that you go to Solozo.com, book that demo, and you'll be talking to Chris or I in no time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, Leslie, for joining us. We will see everybody next time. Have a great day.